The message had traveled across 47 light-years, compressed into quantum bursts that rode the fabric of space-time itself until it reached the deep space monitoring stations orbiting Sol's outer planets. When the transmission was finally decoded and translated, the words that emerged sent shockwaves through the Terran Defense Command. To any who receive this message, I am Elder Keeper Zethkai of the sanctuary world Verdania Prime. Our peaceful world is under siege by the Harvester Collective. They have broken the galactic accords and are systematically exterminating our population to claim our biosphere. We have no weapons, no military, no means of defense. Our children hide in the crystal caves, while our cities burn. If there is mercy in the galaxy, if there is justice, please, someone help us. Fleet Admiral Rebecca Zhang stood in the command center of the orbital defense platform Prometheus Station, her weathered hands gripping the datapad containing the translated message. Around her, the sterile corridors hummed with the activity of Earth's most advanced military installation, but her attention was focused entirely on the holographic star chart displaying the Verdania system. How long since the message was sent? She asked her intelligence officer, Commander Park. Based on quantum decay signatures, approximately 6 months, Admiral. The Harvester Collective began their siege 7 months ago. If their standard operational procedures hold, Verdania Prime has perhaps 2 weeks before complete biomass absorption. Zhang's jaw tightened. The Harvester Collective was a mechanoid hive mind that consumed entire ecosystems, stripping worlds down to barren rock before moving on to the next target. They had been pushing deeper into galactic community space for the past decade, and the civilized species seemed powerless to stop them. What about the Galactic Defense Force? Zhang asked, though she suspected she already knew the answer. The Altarian Council voted to observe the situation and provide humanitarian aid to survivors, Commander Park replied, his voice carefully neutral. The Zeltharian Scientific Collective has lodged a formal protest. The Kefrian Trade Union has imposed economic sanctions. Sanctions against machines that don't trade, Zhang muttered. Typical. She turned to the tactical display. Commander Park, I want full fleet deployment readiness in 6 hours. Contact the shipyards at Titan and Europa. I want every available vessel prepped for long-range operations. Admiral, with respect, Earth Command hasn't authorized military intervention in galactic community space. The Non-Interference Treaty. Zhang's eyes, hardened by 40 years of defending humanity's interests in a hostile galaxy, fixed on her subordinate. Commander, that treaty applies to internal galactic community disputes. The Harvester Collective aren't signatories to any accord. They're an external threat committing genocide. She activated the fleet-wide communications array. This is Fleet Admiral Zhang to all Terran Defense Force vessels. We have received a distress call from a peaceful world under attack by the Harvester Collective. Civilian populations, including children, are being systematically murdered. As of now, Operation Firestorm is in effect. All available vessels are to report for immediate deployment. Within hours, Earth's formidable war machine began to move. From the shipyards of Mars came the heavy cruisers New Tokyo and Berlin, their hulls bristling with railguns and quantum torpedo launchers. The carrier groups from Jupiter space brought Valkyrie and Ragnarok, each vessel carrying complement of fighters and assault craft. From the deep patrol fleets came destroyers, frigates, and support vessels ships, designed by a species that had learned warfare in the crucible of their own violent history. The Terran fleet that assembled in Sol System was a sight that would have terrified any civilized species. Where other races built ships for exploration, trade, or limited defense, humans had built theirs for war. Every vessel was a predator, designed by apex predators who had fought their way from the African savanna to the stars. Fleet status, Commander? Zhang asked as she settled into the command chair aboard her flagship, the dreadnought Indomitable Will. 67 vessels, ready for jump, Admiral. Marines are loaded, supply lines established. Medical ships standing by for refugee operations. Zhang nodded. The jump to Verdania would take 18 hours through hyperspace time they likely didn't have, but the fastest available. All ships, prepare for jump. Remember, we're not just representing Earth today. We're representing the idea that civilized species don't abandon each other to genocide. 18 hours later, the Terran fleet materialized in the Verdania system to find exactly what they had expected: systematic destruction. The Harvester Collective's biomechanical ships, each the size of a city, orbited the blue-green world like mechanical vultures. Streams of harvested biomass flowed from the planet's surface to the collection vessels, while smaller harvester units scoured the surface for remaining life signs. Tactical assessment, Zhang ordered. 43 harvester vessels of various classes. No defensive formations, they're not expecting resistance. Energy signatures indicate they've processed approximately 60% of the planetary biosphere. And the survivors? I'm reading life signs in underground locations. The message was accurate. They're hiding in crystal cave systems that the harvester's sensors can't penetrate effectively. Zhang studied the tactical display. The Harvester Collective was technologically advanced, but they had never faced human military doctrine. They had adapted to fight the defensive, honor-based tactics of the galactic community species. They had no experience with predators who had evolved strategy from millennia of warfare. All ships implement Doctrine 7, Surgical Strike Protocol. Target the harvester ships, first cut off their ability to extract more biomass. Fighter squadrons, Alpha Strike on their sensor arrays. Marines, prepare for surface deployment. The Terran fleet struck like lightning. Human weapons, designed for maximum efficiency rather than honor or fair play, tore through harvester defenses with surgical precision. Quantum torpedoes, guided by AI systems that could calculate trajectory adjustments in nanoseconds, found weak points in alien armor. Railgun projectiles, accelerated to significant fractions of light speed, punched through hulls that had never been tested against kinetic weapons of such velocity. The largest harvester vessel, a biomass processor the size of Manhattan, found itself bracketed by 6 human destroyers whose coordinated fire reduced it to scrap in under 3 minutes. But Zhang wasn't content with just stopping the harvest. As the last harvester vessel either fled or was destroyed, she opened communications with the planet below. Verdania Prime, this is Fleet Admiral Zhang of the Terran Defense Force. The Harvester Collective has been driven from your system. Our medical teams are standing by to assist survivors, and our engineering corps is ready to help rebuild. The reply, when it came, was filled with static and what the universal translators identified as sobbing. Terran vessels, we cannot believe. You came. You actually came. Elder Keeper Zethkai, I presume? Zhang allowed herself a small smile. Someone has to stand up to bullies. Earth learned that lesson a long time ago. As rescue shuttles launched toward the planet and engineering teams began assessing damage, Zhang realized that this operation would change everything. The galactic community would no longer be able to ignore the mechanical threat that had been consuming worlds at the galaxy's edge. But more importantly, the galaxy would learn what humans had always known. Sometimes, the only answer to violent aggression was overwhelming, decisive force applied by those willing to use it. The Deathworlders had answered the call for help, and they had answered with fire.